Today we're going to look at and compare the new iPhone 15 Pro and the iPhone 15 Pro Max. There's a lot about these two devices that are the same, and there are a few differences. So we're going to place them side by side and take a look at them and see if maybe this will help you decide which one might be for you. And we're just going to jump straight into this video. On the right, I have the iPhone 15 Pro, and the left, the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I ended up getting the iPhone 15 Pro in white titanium and the Pro Max in natural titanium. Both of these models are the 256 gigabyte models of these devices. And as far as pricing goes, the iPhone 15 Pro starts at $999 for 128 gigabytes, and the iPhone 15 Pro Max starts at $1199 for 256 gigabytes. So that means when you spec up the regular 15 Pro to 256 gigabytes, it is only $100 difference between the Pro and the Pro Max. And of course, both of these devices can be configured up to 1 terabyte of storage. The design this year has been revamped. So yes, the iPhone does look similar to iPhones of the previous years, all the way back to the iPhone 12, and even some similarities to older iPhones as well. However, this year we do have the brand new titanium frame that goes all the way around, getting rid of the heavy stainless steel on the Pro models. The frame is more of a brushed matte finish compared to the very shiny stainless steel that was on the previous models, and I think it looks really good. You can get the iPhone 15 Pro models in natural, blue, white, or black. Like I said, I have the natural and the white right here, and it is extremely difficult to tell the difference between these two devices in most lighting. I even went around outside and just in different rooms to try and compare these two devices. If anything, it's almost like the natural over here has just a very slightly different tint than the white titanium model. And beyond color, the edges on the sides of the titanium are rounded, which makes for a better, more comfortable feel in the hand. This is something I was skeptical about. I know a lot of people have been complaining about sharp edges on the iPhones lately, and I didn't really have an issue with it. And now, when comparing this to something like the iPhone 14 Pro Max, the feel in the hand is just a lot smoother and a lot more comfortable. There's also a pretty decent weight reduction in these current models compared to previous generations. I think Apple said around 10%, but by reducing the weight on the frame itself, it makes the whole iPhone feel even lighter than 10%. But when it comes to the actual weight, the iPhone 15 Pro Max is 7.81 ounces and the iPhone 15 Pro is 6.60 ounces. They're the same depth at 8.25 millimeters. However, the iPhone 15 is about 6 millimeters narrower than the Pro Max, and the Pro Max is about 13 millimeters taller than the Pro. Now, another big new feature on the iPhone 15 Pros this year is that action button. So this is a user configurable button that allows you to do a number of things. You can actually set this to open up your camera, turn on the flashlight, or start basically anything using iOS shortcuts. To configure the action button after the initial setup, you can just go into settings and you go to action button, and here you have the option to swipe through the different things that you can set it to. So you can set accessibility settings, you can set voice memo, flashlight, and like I said, camera. So we'll just go ahead and select that for now. And that means when we press and hold this action button, whether we're on the lock screen, the phone is locked, or whatever, we should open the camera up right away. So we'll go ahead and click and hold, and now we have access to the camera with a physical button. And of course, you can use that button to actually take photos as well. So as you can see, there's been a lot of changes on the outside of the iPhone 15 Pros. I really love the look and the feel of these new devices and the new button. And I want to keep these looking as nice and clean as they do right now on day one. And to do that, I'm going to level up my protection with our sponsor, ESR. These are the ESR Stash Stand Cases. I have the hybrid case with Stash Stand, and I have the cloud soft case with Stash Stand. The ESR Stash Stand cases are ESR originals with a patented flip-out kickstand, which allows you to set your phone up in landscape mode to watch a movie or even play a game hands-free. You can also set your iPhone 15 in landscape mode to read an article or surf the web, making it a do-it-all stand. Another great feature of the Stash Stand is that you can also use it while charging with MagSafe at the same time. With the hybrid case, you can show off your new iPhone design and keep it looking great with military-grade protection like air guard corners, a raised edge around the display, and camera guard. It also has a thinner back for faster MagSafe charging. The Cloud Soft case with Stash Stand provides the same military-grade protection with a rigid core and silicone exterior that feels really nice in the hand. On the inside, there's a microfiber lining for your iPhone 15 to lie comfortably, and all the Stash Stand cases connect securely to MagSafe accessories with 1,500 gram force, much more than other cases. If you're looking for even more protection for the screen, ESR also has the ArmorRite glass screen protector, which can sustain a 110-pound pinpoint force test. So if you're ready to level up your protection with the iPhone 15, check out ESR Stash Stand Cases and more using the links in the description below, or search ESR Stash Stand on Amazon. And my thanks to ESR for sponsoring this video. Now, there's not a lot that changed with the displays this year. Both of these displays are basically what we got last year with the iPhone 14 Pro. And that's not a bad thing. These are great, fantastic displays. These are Super Retina XDR displays. The Pro Max is 6.7 inches and the 15 Pro is 6.1 inches. They both have the dynamic island. They both have the same 2:1 contrast ratio. They both get up to 1,000 nits of peak brightness in regular use, 2,000 nits in the sun, which is awesome for the couple of minutes or seconds that it works. And when it comes to HDR content, both of these devices can output up to 1,600 nits of brightness for that content, which is just stunning. These displays are fantastic. And that doesn't even account for the ProMotion support, which allows the display to variably refresh based on the content. And of course, if we turn these off, you'll see that both of these also have the always on display. And now one of the biggest changes of the year is on the bottom. We have USB-C. The USB-C port, of course, replaces Lightning that we've had since 2012. And it is a big upgrade from Lightning on the Pro models. With the Pro models, we get up to 10 gigabits per second USB support, which allows you to connect all kinds of different accessories. You can connect external hard drives, you can connect an HDMI cable to connect directly to a monitor or a TV. You can connect adapters for SD cards or even for Ethernet or whatever else. You can connect a lot of different accessories. Oh, external USB-C cameras can also be connected. I know there's probably some people out there that will be upset about having to buy a new cable with the iPhone 15s this year. But I mean, truth be told, you probably already have some USB-C cables anyway for other devices. And I think everybody's actually going to be happy with it in the long run. Now, inside both of these devices is the brand new A17 Pro chip. The A17 Pro chip is a 6-core CPU with 2 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores. There's a 6-core GPU and a 16-core neural engine. Using Geekbench 6, I was able to test these CPUs side by side. And as you can see, these scores are relatively close to each other. Scores can go up and down depending on a whole bunch of different factors, but they are definitely within some kind of margin of error. The single core score is within 1 point of each other and just a couple percent different on the multi-core. Apple says it's about a 10% change in performance on the A17 Pro compared to the A16. And just for fun, here's the iPhone 14 Pro getting about a 10% difference on the single core performance and pretty close on the multi-core. And checking raw graphics power on these devices, again, the scores are similar within just a couple of percentage points of each other within some kind of margin of error. But so far in just this test, the iPhone 15 Pro is definitely holding its own compared to the Pro Max. The larger device is not necessarily getting a better score. Now, the big change in GPU is going to be the hardware ray tracing that should be coming to games at some point. And supposedly that will give the iPhones next level or console level gaming performance. Now, both of these devices also come with the 2nd generation ultra wideband chip. Apple doesn't call it the U2 chip for some reason, but it has the 2nd generation. So again, ultra wideband is for things like Find My, so you can find things like AirTags or even your Apple TV remote. And Apple even showed off how you can do Find My Friends using the U2 chip and get exact guidance on where your friend is. When it comes to wireless performance, we of course get 5G, sub-6 millimeter wave, blah, 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 fast wireless connection. There's also Wi-Fi 6E built in and Bluetooth 5.3. Wi-Fi 6E should get you up to gigabit speeds using Wi-Fi. And in my tests, of course, it has been slightly variable because wireless. Now, I do have a Wi-Fi 6E access point actually right behind me, and I have a 10 gigabit connection to my NAS. So we should be able to see what kind of performance we get. So we'll just start with the 15 Pro. We get an average of about 415 megabits per second. Now, that's not anywhere near the gigabits speed that you should be able to get with 6E. I've gotten over 900 megabits with my MacBook Pro. So let's go ahead and test out on the Pro Max. And on the Pro Max, we got a slightly higher speed at 472 megabits per second. Now, again, it's wireless. These speeds can change. Every time you run it, you're going to get a slightly different result. So don't bang too much on these numbers, but we'll check the Pro one more time. And now we get 478. So again, pretty good speeds, but not exactly gigabit wireless. Now, with Apple's move to 3mm technology with the A17 Pro, I would have thought we would have got a change in battery life of some kind or maybe some new battery technology, but alas, we're basically the same as last year. With the 15 Pro Max, we get video playback up to 29 hours. That's the same as the 14 Pro Max. And with the 15 Pro, we get video playback of up to 23 hours. So again, batteries are basically the same as last year. And I haven't had time to do any tests because these are new iPhones, so don't listen to anybody who gives you actual numbers right now. But with the iPhone 14s last year, with the Pro Max, I was using over 6 hours of screen time, which yes, I know it's pretty unhealthy, but I was ending the day with roughly 20 to 40% battery left over each night. When I switched over to the 6.1-inch 14 Pro, I was getting about 5.5 hours of screen time and ending the day with somewhere between 5 and 30% battery life. So my guess is we can probably expect similar numbers with these devices. Now, I did want to go ahead and check out the speakers between these two devices. Again, not expecting anything that drastically different from last year's, but here is an audio test of these two devices. And now, of course, there are some differences in the cameras between the Pro and the Pro Max. Both of these devices have a 48 megapixel main sensor, which now shoots 24 megapixel photos by default. And we get the same 12 megapixel ultra wide lens over here. And then on the 15 Pro, we get a similar 3x camera that we had last year on the 14 Pro Max. But on the Pro Max, we now get that 5x tetra prism lens. What does that mean? No one cares. It just means that the Pro Max now has a 5x zoom lens with a new optical image stabilizer built in. You can see right here that when punching in from 1x to 2x to 5x on the iPhone Pro Max, you get quite a bit of reach on this iPhone. The iPhone 15 Pro only goes to 3x, which is good, but as you can see, it just does not reach as far. And similar to last year where Apple had the 2x crop on the main sensor, it also now has presets for others as well. So by default, the 1x camera is a 24mm equivalent. You can also go to 28 or 35mm equivalents along with that 2x crop onto the sensor. And that gives you some variable ranges to give you just the right shot that you're looking for. Portrait mode on both of these devices is also improved and actually automatic. So now when you take a photo, it will automatically capture all of that depth information and allow you to go back into the software and edit later and add bokeh to the photo if you want. And that means no more, oh crap, I forgot to put it in portrait mode because I want this cool picture of my cat or my daughter or whatever. And so that's great that it's automatic now, and it's also on the regular iPhone 15s as well. When it comes to videos, you can now record in ProRes log, which gives you a very flat picture profile that you can later go in and color grade later. This is going to be big for anyone who actually does videos on their iPhone for a living if they choose to take advantage of that. And you can do up to 4K 30 using ProRes log on the phone, and you can do up to 4K 60 if you go to external storage, which is now available because of that USB-C port on the bottom. And when it comes to the front-facing camera, these are the same front-facing FaceTime camera that we had last year, so no changes there. Both of these iPhones obviously have a front-facing FaceTime camera. And I think that's about it. So that is the iPhone 15 Pro and the iPhone 15 Pro Max. They have a number of things in common and a couple of things that are different. And if you're still trying to decide which one of these is for you, it really just comes down to one thing: the size. The iPhone 15 Pro Max is a better device. It comes with a bigger screen, a bigger battery, a better zoom lens, and 256 gigabytes of base storage. But unfortunately, it is pretty big and some people might have an issue with the size. It took me a while to get used to it, and it runs $11.99 starting. If you're somebody who prefers a smaller device that fits better in your hand and pocket, like this guy does, and you're okay with a battery that maybe doesn't last a crazy long day and 128 gigabytes of base storage, then the iPhone 15 Pro is definitely a good buy at $9.99. So the only question left is, which one are you getting? Let me know in the comments below. Also, if you haven't seen this video, you should definitely check it out. Hit the thumbs up button if you liked it, hit subscribe if you want, and I'll see you next time.